The craziest thing about creativity is that everybody has it, but not everybody trusts it. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Magic Made podcast. This is Megan Holly, and I'm so happy you're here. And I hope you're feeling creative today because we're going to tap into creativity because I am someone that gets asked all the time, how are you so creative? How do you have just the trust, the bandwidth to do the things? So we're going to dive into that. And I'm going to remind you that we all have that opportunity. So if you're somebody who's like, I don't have a creative bone in my body, I just don't trust the process, like any of those sentiments, I promise you that it's not something that you're necessarily born with or without, but it's something that you can hone in on, you can create, you can level up, you can step into. There's so many different things that you can do to really own that. And so, yes, for me, it is true. I'm a very creative person. I'm kind of a daredevil when it comes to the idea of creation. And although I'm innately a rule follower, which a lot of people don't really believe that because just of the way that I kind of present to the world, right? I am a rule follower. I like to make sure that everybody feels safe and comfy. But at the same time, I have this edge and this side of me that always wants to kind of push the limit, see what happens, that kind of a vibe. And so what I believe to be true is that all of us have that within us. We have the ability to create. Yes, we have the ability to hone in on creative skills. And now creativity doesn't just mean a paintbrush on a canvas or photography or flipping furniture, DIYs, things like that. It doesn't have to be that. Creativity taps into everyday life, just creatively thinking through problems and solving, everyday moments and things. That is a form of creativity. There's so many different forms, but what I want to really dive into today is not necessarily the form of creativity that might be something that calls to you or you want to tap into more, or maybe you don't even really want to necessarily be more creative in something, but you want to feel that spirit of creativity. The spirit of creativity is the trusting of the process. And that is something we all need to do more in life because we want to just like white knuckle it. We want to white knuckle life and creativity and the project and the thing and the conversation and all the things. I need to loosen up my fingers. I was really white knuckling it there to get the point across, but we need to really trust the process more. And I think that's why this conversation is really lighting me up today, is because it applies to all of things in all of life if you let it. And so my biggest kind of just spoiler alert answer is that it is a process of trusting the process. What is the worst that's going to happen if you try the thing and you don't know what the outcome is going to look like? Ooh, I know some of us just got like a little feeling because we want to know the end results before we start. Don't we all? Wouldn't that be beautiful, right? Some of us love a predictable movie because it's comfortable, it's safe. We know everybody's going to be happy at the end. There's not going to be a cliffhanger. There's not going to be someone or a character that you love getting hurt or, whatever. And so we love that. Our brains love predictability because it's known. We can examine it. We can kind of, I guess, just we tap into it differently because our brains just know it to be safe. But what if we shook that up in life more often? Right? You all know in this community that I love a DIY project. I will slap a crazy color paint on a piece of furniture. I will dye a shirt randomly because I'm not grabbing for it anymore. And that color just doesn't do me any good. But what happens if I turn it green, for instance, as you've seen on my socials? My brain loves that. Yes, I like predictability. Ask my husband when he's like, "Oh, how are you feeling?" When there's like plans that are supposed to be happening in like a day and they're still up in the air a little bit with somebody. He's like, "I know you're on edge right now because you want to kind of have a little bit of a map of what that looks like." And I do. But at the end of the day, right, I really love the essence of playing. And I think if we all allowed that in our lives more often, or maybe even in our business, yes, let it happen in our business a little bit more, playing with our content, playing with our taglines, our missions, our message. What if we played more? And somehow we ended up stumbling into the exact right ideal client world, right? Our community starts flourishing more because we've played and not stayed so rigid. See how I took that into a different thing than like actual, what people want to say is like actual creativity? Because that's what I'm getting at is we all have this ability to kind of shapeshift into a creative version of whatever it might be to see new refreshed outcomes that we maybe could not predict in the beginning. And the most beautiful things in life come from that. Like think about the people who have done the most interesting things out there. Maybe it's their style, maybe it's the business they've created, maybe it's homes or artwork that they're known for, right? Think about those people. They just went in and they just played. They had a process of play, if you will, right? So I think of like randomly architecture came in my brain and like Frank Lloyd Wright. He had a very distinct vibe. If you don't know who that is, definitely look, right? My interior design brain and heart wants you to know a little bit about Frank Lloyd Wright. But he had a distinct style, and I don't exactly know how he got there, but he had some sort of a process of creating and having a mind's eye for things looking a certain way and being in his kind of vein of creativity. And so we all get the potential to do that. We're all innately born with the process to think creatively. It gets crushed a lot in life. I know we've all had that experience in some way, shape, or form. For me, being a creative kid and always, I dreamt of being like a Broadway dancer when I was a kid. And I even did a poem. I remember getting like like a really good grade on it. I think it was like an A plus, or whatever. And it was like this poem about being a Broadway dancer. I loved it. I loved the idea of thinking about doing something crazy and kind of outside the box for a living. And then ended up that I kind of do a lot of stuff that's like outside of the box, outside of the everyday norm. And it's so beautiful. But what if I would have just listened to all the, well, are you sure? Well, is that going to be a steady job? Like all these things, who knows if where my happiness level would be, which is the most important thing, right? Where my health would be, because if we're unhappy, sometimes that can pull us down into a spiral of anxiety or depression and things like that. Obviously, there's other factors in that, but I'm just saying like that can be a catalyst for certain things that can kind of happen. And so who knows? I don't want to know that life because all I know is that I kind of persevered through and brought in my creative journey through it. And so what does that look like for you? Where are you feeling like maybe you could be having more fun and more creativity in your life? Maybe it's even just having more unique date nights. I don't know, with your significant other. That word is always so hard to say for me. I don't know why. Significant other. Maybe it's just getting more creative in that because you're feeling a little bored and you're feeling a little like, oh yeah, that person over there. I love him, but we're just moving through the motions right now, and which is, we all have those seasons. But right, how can we be tapping into our creativity differently? Because we have this beautiful life that we can set on fire in a good way or in a bad way, honestly. You could set things to fire for both reasons. And so I would like to set things on fire in the most beautiful way. So join me in that and getting into this creative kind of just beauty. Um, the most creative version of yourself is already somewhere within you. It just needs some layers to be peeled off, like, going to like DIY vibe. I just love like a peel of an old paint or an old thing that you start to see the beauty of it underneath. Have you ever like sanded something down or, scraped paint off of something and been like, this is the most beautiful wood ever, right? So you are that. You are that old dresser that somebody told was not good enough as just it's plain, beautiful, knotted wood. And this is coming from somebody who likes to paint furniture, so I'm not knocking painting furniture. Unless it's antique and like super, super special. Please don't do that. But You've been painted, you've been sanded, you've been ground down, you've been painted again, you've been painting a color that just didn't quite jive. You've been put in the back room, you've then been sold, you've been put on the side of the road, like you've gone down a detour. But the most creative version of yourself is in there. We just have to allow that to emerge, think differently, right? Maybe it's even starts again, we kind of talked about the a date night thing. Can you do a few interesting ones that kind of get your juices flowing about how you can do different things with people that you love? Maybe it starts in the kitchen. Maybe you are like, you know what? I've always really wanted to cook with more, enter something, right? Vegetable, a spice, a something, and just challenge yourself to do that, for a whole week or something. I don't know. Let's have fun with it. This is unplanned. This whole moment. So go with it, right? For a week, use a certain ingredient that maybe pushes your comfort zone, but you're curious about, and make a dish every single day, right? Maybe it's breakfast, maybe it's lunch, maybe it's a dessert, maybe it's whatever. Play with it. This is how we tap into our most creative selves that are already there in that beautiful wood grain of yours, just waiting to be seen and shown the light of day. And so, wherever it might be calling you to is safe and important, and that's all that matters. And when we allow the reminder that it's not necessarily a talent. Now, yes, we can all argue that there are people who have a stronger eye for something, or, are steadier in their hand for doing something, right? Especially when we're really thinking about something that's a natural creative outlet. But all of these things can be learned and honed in on. Don't sell yourself short because you don't maybe feel as inept in that way, right? And try it. No, I didn't know how to, and to be honest, I'm still not, I would never tell somebody that I have the expert skill on refurbishing furniture. I just do it in a way that makes sense to me. And is it the most high-end, perfect way to do it? If I was selling it, would I do it the exact same way? Probably not. If it's in my own home, it's a different story, right? So don't allow that expert vibe that we get from other people sometimes, like they're an expert in it, they know how to do it, or they're so good at it. Or I follow a lot of people who do cool DIY things with like clothing, and I just like, oh, like sewing, I know how to, like, I could stitch up a hole, I could put a button back on, I could do things, but I'm not like, ooh, super savvy. If it got too technical, I'd be like throwing in the towel. But also, why should I? If I could learn differently or find a different way to do it, or, you know what I mean? Just get creative with it, literally. So sit with yourself. And if you're like, yeah, like I really want to own the creative parts of me, I want to find the creative parts of me, or I already feel pretty dang creative, but I really want to keep just allowing more space for it. Let it shine. Let it rip, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Um, think back to yourself as a younger version of yourself, or just a different version of yourself. Maybe it wasn't all that much different timeline wise. And call in a version of yourself that you maybe do resonate with, feeling more creative or more just open, and see what was different. What was different at that time for you? Was it the people around you? Was it physically the location in which you were in? Was it time? Was it energy, right? That most of those things can be shifted to at least some extent. If you're thinking, well, energy, yeah, I was younger, I had more energy. I only had one kid versus four kids, like, all these things that we're going to just say, well, that's the reason, and I can't really get out of it. It's not changeable. Well, it really is changeable, right? So time also, well, I don't have time to really invest in that. But what if that was the exact thing you needed to feel more elegant in life? I don't know why the word elegant came to my mind, but elegant, just like meaning that you just feel like you float through, you're just feeling a little bit more polished and good in your own skin. Yeah. Not like this perfect polished thing, but polished in your own skin, meaning you feel good. We can make more time for what we prioritize. And I have found in recent times that the more time that I give myself to release and enjoy little outlets of life or creativity or movement or sleep or rest, the more time that I do that, the more I actually get done in the day. It seems so many times in our brains that that is the opposite. Like that can't be the case. There's no way. That's just like the math doesn't math, you know? But it's actually been so true for me where I'm more like firing on all cylinders because I've been able to step away, take the rest, be more creative, you know, what all the things that when we were kids we wanted to rush through, right? Like I want to be an adult, I want to do this and I want to do that. And now we're here, we're like, damn, I wish I could just go swing on a swing for a little while and then go have a juice box and then, all the like all the things that when you look back to it so often are just the nostalgia, moments. But we can create an adult version of that by tapping into these things, tapping into our creative selves, tapping into giving ourselves space and time to just be. What if you just did that and you found some discoveries about yourself or your thoughts or where you want to go with your life or where you want to go with your career, where you want to go with a relationship? What if? I know it's possible. So let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. So as we round out this episode, I want you to remember that creativity equals problem solving and self expression. So when you put problem solving and self expression together is when you get creativity. At the end of the day, that is really what the formula is. And so when we have something at hand, right? We have something that's happening right here. It could be a situation, a relationship, a problem right in front of you, a something that's boring you, whatever it might be. And you say, problem solve. Well, I don't like this. And I think it would look better if I did this, or it would sound better if I said that, or we would get along more if I X, Y, and Z. So you're problem solving. And then you're putting some of your own self expression into it. Not what you think somebody should hear from you, not what you think that somebody else would want in that paint color, not what the exact perfect thing you think that your coworker is expecting from you. You put your own self expression into it. And then guess what? It's a ripple effect. They go, "Oh, I never thought of it like that." Or, "Wow, I really love that what you did with that piece of clothing or that furniture or that layout in your office." That's the beauty. It's the ripple effect because we're all so afraid of starting the little dominoes down the path that we'll just wait for somebody else to do it. Even meanwhile, we've got this vision or this thought or this care to do it differently, and we're just waiting and waiting. So don't let that happen. So bring together your problem solving side and your self expression, which might be muted right now, and see where it takes you and see where your creativity starts to flow. Because creativity isn't something that you just have to like pick up one day and you just find and you're like, "Oh, here it is. It's been gone and I found it." It's just something you tap into and you remember. You remember because it's been there, or maybe it's shown its face in small doses, or maybe it was really a big part of your life. If you are listening to this and you are borderline like, "Oh my gosh, I lost all of that." It's been missing. It's MIA. Then this is your sign and your reminder that it is not. It is there. We don't just have to, accept that. It's the time has passed. We can tap into it right now. So go on and be bold, have fun, go create in whatever way feels good for you in your life and your relationships and all of the things, and share with me, especially if you're doing something that's, a tangible thing that you're creating with. Maybe you want to get into more of an artistic creativity moment. Let me see what you're creating and doing. It'll be beautiful to see all of us out there just making this world a little bit more just a little more beautiful with our expression impressed upon it, because I think that's what we need more of is you. We need more of you. Need more of you unfiltered, more importantly. So let's go do that. Let's rip off the filter and just have some fun. And if you have not yet, please make sure that you like and follow here on whatever platform you are listening or watching on. If you're not on YouTube, come on over. I'd love to be sitting here with you, on the couch and just hanging and chatting. Pop in the comments, subscribe, follow, all the things. That way you stay in the know with episodes as we roll them out, and have some fun here. And don't forget to look for your magic. I will forever and always remind you of that, because magic, it just brings us so much reminders. It brings us a moment to just take in beauty, and it reminds us that we are simple at the core of all of this life and this human existence, that it is simple to find the magic in our lives. So send it on over my way, tag me. I would love to see the magic that you are finding or creating, and enjoy the process of tapping into your bigger self-expression self. And I will see you next time.